Immersive storytelling is incredibly important to us to convert our guests. The really important start point is that 92% of our guests have already decided they're going to buy from retail. Over 80% of guests have told us that really good storytelling and an immersive creative experience really helps that conversion. And then I think the other major thing we focus on is around 3.5 times per cruise, a guest will come back into our retail space. So the opportunity and touch points for us to convert those guests into different products and brands is really, really high. Again, focusing on the liquor category, which is where I focus within Harding, what we've been doing in terms of immersive storytelling and activation is actually around tastings and paid-for tasting events. These have been working incredibly well. So on a typical cruise ship, we'll have a bourbon tasting, a tequila tasting, a whiskey tasting, and then a cognac tasting. They're really well attended. Around about 70% of the guests that attend our tastings go on to buy the products that they're being presented, which is a huge participation rate in retail. But more importantly, we get great guest feedback. In fact, we're trying to find more space on board ship to run more of these events right now. And the next major iteration of that is a more premiumization of that experience. So at the moment, the guests will pay a moderate fee to attend a paid-for tasting event. We're going to be increasing that fee for premium, but then offering some really beautiful premium expressions, particularly in whiskey, and then see how the guests react to that. Supporting that, what we have done is, as well as improving and increasing our range of bourbons, which is a fairly simple retail tactic, we've also then landed major market activation space on board key ships. So we've created a Southern Bourbon Trail. It feels uniquely Kentucky. We try and tell the story of bourbon. And then again, we're supporting that with bourbon tasting events to really underpin and drive that customer message. It's really important for us to focus on the entire liquid to lips journey, which is so important in the liquor industry. So Harding's been investing heavily in terms of our IT and technologies, particularly AI and how we can use that data to affect the guest experience. Something that's been happening for a little while now is our advanced forecasting techniques. So we use AI as well as historic data, itinerary planning, guest profile and demographics to really understand what levels of stock of every product should be on board. What that's allowed us to do is drive incredibly high levels of availability, so we don't ever have any disappointed guests, as well as managing a really good level of stock across all of our cruise ships. The next step around that we're working on now, though, is around using AI in cruise to actually understand what guests are buying at any one point in time, and then we can use that to affect any pricing decisions. And with the invention of digital shelf edge labels, we can change things quite reactively based on what we're actually seeing happening yesterday, the day before, which is really good. It's really exciting. It means we can make sure the guest is never disappointed in terms of out of stock, and we can also maximize the commercial opportunity for the industry as well as for the brands. And then further to this, Harding's dedicated in full guest demographic profiling. So we segment all of our guests in terms of first-time cruiser or longer-term cruiser, as well as where they are from the world, to make sure that the ranges and the promotions are fully tailored. Now, we use AI a lot in that interpretation, and it gives us cutting-edge information on what we think each cruise is going to do. The reality is each cruise ship and each cruise itinerary is unique, and therefore we mean to make sure that we have the right guest products on board to fit that guest profile, and to ensure we don't have any unhappy customers. And ultimately they can find products that they cannot see anywhere else in the world apart from cruise. I think the cruise retail environment is a major proving ground for new brands for a number of reasons. So number one, our guests are crying out and looking for products that they cannot find easily domestically. Be that a product for themselves to enjoy and explore, or potentially as a gifting opportunity. And we see major benefits in that. The other major factor I've almost referred to in the fact that the guests on board our ship do visit the ship shops 3.5 times per cruise. So the amount of time available for our ship teams to educate, to train, to inform, to tell the story of a brand and then sell the story of that brand is absolutely significant. We spend a huge amount of time on training, and when we do get that right, we see some incredible results. We want to delight and excite our guests with products that you simply cannot find easily in the domestic channel at a really good price. Of course, that then leads to guests coming off ship with those products. It naturally then leaks into the domestic market, and it's a great proving ground to potentially launch those products globally in the domestic market once it's been settled on cruise. And because we have so much data about our guest profile, demographic, spend, location, etc., we can feed all of that information into the brands to make some really good decisions about potential global rollouts and why certain things have worked. It's not uncommon for us to see over 100% return on investment for brands launching on cruise. It's an incredible proving ground for us. In terms of upcoming developments, I think everyone's aware within Harding, we have been on a transformation journey for the last 2 years. We do believe we've transformed our business. In terms of 2026, there are a number of really big key focal areas. So number one is around ship colleague engagement. So we are doing even more in terms of training events, be that video, be it brand ambassadors going on board. We have an online training platform, and we actually launched a system called Sonar recently where we use that to communicate with our ship teams. We want them to be the most knowledgeable on the brands. The other major focus is really, we're saying to our brands, we want to be braver, we want to be bolder, we want to try things on a cruise ship that they have not tried in any other channel. Because we have that captive audience and they're repeating into our store so regularly, it gives a great opportunity for brands to try things that they wouldn't be willing to take the risk on elsewhere. And because we have that data, we can show exactly real time what is happening in terms of that. So we're in lots of conversation with brands now about doing things bigger, bolder, more exciting, which is great fun. And ultimately, the more fun we have in delivering these plans, hopefully, the more fun the guest has on board the ship.